well, yeah, we get, okay. It is 7:03 and I'm gonna call this meeting of the Community Housing Board to order. The first item is, actually, the first item is to welcome our new board member. We're really excited you're here. Eston comes with the building background, which is, like I said, completely understating it, and we are so grateful to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be here, everybody.
And yeah, and we have Bill, I think you might know
I know
Bill.
Bill.
You know Bill from the world.
Yep.
All right, and then David, you will meet, and Peter you met.
Yes.
All right, so let's start with minutes. Let's everybody take a gander. Let's review the minutes and see if anybody has any notes or. Motioning,
Make a motion to accept them as written.
second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, so I have something cool to share. It's the fund update. Goodness, and
Bar?
what?
Are we over the bar?
We're over the bar. We're over the bar. So Shelby sent our statement for Community Housing Fund, and we were at 999,706, and then I wrote her back and was like, oh, I wish we, it was like, I just kept thinking like, this was the month we were gonna hit 1 million, and she's like, actually, I don't have the statement, but your deposit from January just hit and you're over 1 million.
Nice. Nice.
So we did it. So that's exciting. And then let's talk about the ADU plus one update. We have, yeah, I'm just gonna try to pull this out. So we're kind of still in a similar place. So we have one done. We have 3 right behind them in construction. One so close. It hurts. We're just waiting on the septic grant from the county to get that in.
We did Marion Jippos, it's done.
It's done.
It's done,
They got it through.
done. They did it without the grant.
They did it without the grant.
Oh.
We did.
Oh.
So it's done.
Thank you, done. Amazing. Also,
I still feel like we should be turning the screws on the counter.
oh,
Oh, yeah, no, don't stop.
Okay.
oh, no. We're not like,
Yeah.
figured out a different way to come at them through, like, I was like, we'll just harass them. So we've been having a problem.
Yeah, no, don't stop.
Yeah, not stopping. But basically we've been having an issue with getting, there's like the septic grants and for the ADUs, but the problem is because they're like not a failing system, they kept getting pushed to the bottom of the line. And so they had their ADU, which you probably driven by it, looks beautiful, and was just waiting to get the grant for the septic system to pass and to get their CO.
Mhm.
And they were sitting on, servicing debt, anyway, it was,
So they got the state grant, but no county. So, because the state can be used as a rebate. County cannot.
well,
That's done.
yeah. And so we have 2 more behind them, pretty far into construction. And then we have another six behind it. Were you at the last meeting?
Not this last one.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
That sounds right, 6.
there's like 6 behind that, and then there was 4 in review, I think, at the last meeting. So that was 10, 14, with like 4 signed, 5, I think there were 6 approved but not signed, which means they'd gone all the way through the process, they hadn't signed the grant agreement yet. And then I want to say that there were 4 more in the queue behind, but it's also been 2 weeks since we've had a meeting, so I don't know what else is.
I've been approved, I just haven't had a contract.
Oh, hey, we have one of our approved applications sitting right here in the room.
Oh,
All
really?
right, yeah.
Congratulations.
And I had a site visit and stuff, so.
Was that your site visit today?
Oh, no,
Oh.
I was a couple weeks ago.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
I went and helped, down on 114 with their site visit,
Oh, cool.
so,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That
that is
is,
exciting.
I mean, that's exciting on
So
that's
many levels.
on all levels. So, we're doing pretty good, but we do want to, just as a reminder, we've got 16 to fill, and we'd like to get those all signed before September.
Do we have more than that?
Yeah, so that's the first round.
Oh, okay.
So then we have another round after that. So
Which
that
was
was
1.5 million?
yeah, so we've got, that's the
So
2.
that's 12 more lots.
Yeah,
12 more.
Yeah,
after that.
Okay.
But we got a little bit more time on the next 1.5.
okay.
So, and it went pretty slowly that first bit. So I feel like,
Yeah,
so, we did the outreach at the firehouse, which was good. I think we got 3 solid applications out of that are
Okay.
like qualified, have good projects, that are gonna meet the, you know what I mean? Like, they can come in within like the budget, that, like zoning, like, they, good.
Yeah.
Obviously not signed yet, but, we're doing good. One of the things I was thinking about to make that is to think about things that we could do during the summer, really do like a push during the summer when we have folks out here, maybe some of our snowbirds or whatever, who might be good candidates.
Mhm.
And I think also so I just kind of would put that out to everybody to think about where we can, like maybe we do another outreach session or 2. And then I think it's probably also time to like add like urgency to it and just be like, hey, we don't,
yeah.
we want
Some
to,
kind of deadline.
yeah, well, we have the deadline. It's just like, we don't want to have to hand this money back. So, because I think a lot of folks are like, oh, well, I'll get to it or I'll apply later. And it's just like, this is like, there's like a timeline. There's a clock on this. And it's been pretty chill, but it's like, so I think it's figuring out how we communicate that. So anyway, everybody think about it. If you have ideas about it, let me know. And I was thinking, this is April, so maybe by the next meeting, we come up with some ideas, maybe think of some dates. I was kind of thinking that maybe we could do another open session in the firehouse, maybe in June or July. Like, I don't want to do it too early, but so I don't know. What do you guys think what do you think is like the earliest side of summer that you would get a new crowd?
End of June after school's let out,
Yeah?
end of June. Like last week.
Sounds good.
And would you guys think during the week or on the weekend?
I think you get more people on a weekend.
So I'm just gonna look at it just because we're talking about it. Maybe like the weekend of like the 28th, 29th?
Schools usually let out around the 22nd, 23rd,
Yeah.
24th is typically, I think.
Yeah, okay, cool. How about I will ask at the firehouse what their availability is and just try to preliminarily put a pause on that.
Is there an opportunity before Memorial Day where we have more owners out than renters and they're here to take care of business, get their places in shape, and they're
That's
just,
it. I mean,
they're only here on the weekends, but they're here to get their places in shape, and that would start end of April through end of May.
yeah, I mean, I'm open to it.
Yeah, you could do something Memorial Day weekend or the weekend leading up, the 24th, 25th.
Do you think
May 24th, 25th.
May 24th, 25th? So, let's see.
Well, because then if it's something they're interested in, they learn about it over that weekend.
Is there any community events Memorial Day weekend that we could just, instead of having an event, that we could just be at? You know what I mean?
The parade.
Have a float.
Actually, you know what?
Housing float in the parade.
That actually is that, am I crazy?
I don't know.
A little
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Okay,
For
all right.
Memorial Day, I don't
Okay.
I mean- You could pull it off.
I'm just trying to think of someplace where people are already gonna be, to not make them go to another thing.
I guess the,
Get a big trailer, we could build an ADU on it
We could deck out the
and just
trailer.
drag it along.
I mean, Gary's pretty amazing with cardboard.
You could live
too,
here.
with Cardboard castle, I mean.
If you lived here,
Yeah,
in 5 minutes.
we could go to the farmer's market.
Actually, that's a good idea,
Yeah.
because they're starting that early this year.
Do you think owners would?
And once, I just, my feeling that once the rental season hits, half your owners aren't coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe the June, because they're starting in June, right, the farmer's market? They're doing an early one this year.
My goodness, I don't know, I can ask.
Yeah, they're starting early because they're talking about their historical society vote, so let me find it, it was on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, because maybe we could even go and, I don't know if they would let us have like a table there, or even just walk around and hand out stuff to people.
They would be amenable.
They've
Yeah.
done that in the past, they've allowed us to have tables for different types of
Yeah.
topics, so I think we-
yeah.
We remember, it was like Brandon and I spent a lot of time at a table talking about housing.
And if they're starting before Memorial Day, there's I think a likelihood that more people will be owners.
Yeah, that's a
I
great
think
idea.
especially if we're going as an official town committee, we'll be fine.
Okay, I can reach out to them. I think that's, maybe instead of having an event, just being there. And then maybe we could put on social that we're gonna be there if you have questions.
Liz,
And in the fall.
Liz,
Oh, hi, Bill.
hey, the first farmer's market is May 24th.
Okay,
Excellent. Thank you.
thanks, Bill. The farmer's market's on Saturday?
Saturday.
Okay. All right. Okay. I can reach out. It's the woman who makes candles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. She's in charge. Okay. Farmer's market. I will reach out about that and just see if we could do a table, or some of us could just walk around. And then I will ask about the firehouse on 622. All right. Good. Okay. RFQ. It's going. It's going. We had the pre-proposal conference this morning. Yeah. And we had, I think, like 2 strong bidders.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And for because we moved out the timeline, and so we did another walkthrough. We did an extra walkthrough, and there was just a building team that came out, and I walked them around. And they just do building, but it looks like they're interested in doing, so they actually sent like a part of the building proposal already, but like, I was like, we need the rest of the stuff. And he's like, oh, okay. And so they're figuring it out, but so maybe 3. So that's great. But I think I was really pleased with the two folks that the 2 groups that like came. I thought that they were both like, I think we're all worried, or like, are we gonna have good things to choose from? I think the answer is we're gonna have good choices.
They had good questions.
They had good
They've been
questions.
thoughtful, so they've been thinking about it.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'm gonna talk about, and Bill, I know you're not feeling well, but one of the things that came up today in the pre-proposal conference was, just to remind everybody on dates, and Jessica, I might have you resend out this schedule to everybody just so they have it. But this is coming up really soon, so that the submission deadline is May 16th. We're gonna have these in hand. Which means that potentially by when we meet up for the next community housing board session, we'll probably need to figure out a date for a special meeting. Maybe a slightly longer one or on the weekend or something like that, where we can really kind of pour through them. It'll be a more time intensive. And one of the things that came up was thinking about some of the details of the contracts and the land lease. And so Bill, I know you haven't been well, but I just wanted to kind of see where your conversations were with Miriam.
I'm gonna have to follow up with her after Passover for her.
Okay,
The last I spoke to her, she was starting work on the documents so that there would be drafts. I will give her a push. I know she had contacted me and said that, she wouldn't be available again, I think, until next Tuesday.
yeah, she's, I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. And I was actually gonna see, as we started to work on it, I don't know, Espen, if that would be in your wheelhouse, if you might want to join. Bill has kind of led the contract talks with our housing lawyer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. I was like, I feel like you might have some knowledge and opinions to share as we start working through that. Great. That would be amazing. So just there's contracts. And then I also wanted to kind of put to everyone, so, we're gonna have these submissions, May 16th. We can kind of start to think about what we're gonna do about that with them. And I also wanted to kind of put out, and Meg, I'd love to have your thoughts on it, is to, obviously, we're gonna have probably have some kind of executive session to kind of go through them. But I also wanted to, I know that one of the things that we've talked about as a committee is just having like an open review process so that like we're transparent with the, with the public. And so I just wanted to kind of just because we've never done something like this before, just to kind of think about what we think that looks like, or what we think is a good fit, or like what part do we invite the public in on. So I just wanted to see like if anybody had thoughts or ideas.
Yeah, I think most of what the real review, digging into it, will happen in executive session because it is contract negotiation and you are, sorting that out. And then I would do it more like a presentation to the public on what you chose and why you chose it. And I might approach it more that way than letting the public make the choice. Because that could get very confusing, because you'll have more information than the public, and I think typically that's the way that kind of situation roll out. It's our responsibility to choose the best bidder. We can take input from the public if there's an aspect of some design that they prefer. We can take that back to, whoever we think is the best candidate, but typically it's our job to pull the trigger.
And
So,
is this is a sealed bid?
yeah,
So there needs to be an unsealing as well, which is a formal,
yeah, it's
process.
usually not as, like, I know for some of the huge projects, everyone sits in the room, they open the bids, they read the number, and it's straight up the number. I'm not sure exactly how this one will roll out, it'll depend, I think, on how many bidders we get. Usually if it's a smaller project or a project that then's gonna go and we're gonna sit down and have talks with people, it happens just in the clerk's office, it's not necessarily like a huge open forum where people come and watch. But I'll check into the legalities of exactly what the requirements are for that, for the opening of the bids.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that like, I just know that a lot of the public has a lot of emotions. Some people have like emotions, both like
Oh, yeah.
positive and otherwise, and I just want to make sure that we're being the most transparent that we
Oh, yeah.
can.
Absolutely.
About like even just the parameters that we're using to make the decisions. So obviously we want to respect like, contract law and all that, but I think it's really important that it's
Yeah.
open, you know? So,
One other thing on that, we have criteria in the RFQ where we assign points to certain factors. When we do the review and make certain things public, it is very important that we and keep track of and what we're utilizing to on each of those criteria. And if it's a 5-point, so that we know that that if something is questioned at some point, or even if the public wants to know, we can refer back to the criteria that we established when we issued the RFQ.
that's a great
That's-
point, Bill.
Mhm.
That's essential.
Almost need to vote on the points.
We did,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
did.
yeah, there's
When
a,
you're doing the review, you kind of go through and analyze each one, assign it a points value, in the end, you tally it all up, and then you kind of determine which
Yeah.
one you think is gonna be the better fit for us based on that criteria, and then if there's additional information that they bring to the table, you take that and you weigh it. And then that, essentially, the results of all that deliberation is what you present to the public, you know, these were our applicants, this is the strengths here, these are the strengths there. These were the things that tipped us in this direction, this is why we went with this.
and is
Yeah,
all of
what do
that
you
done
think?
in executive session?
The background work is done in executive session, and then you would do a presentation.
When you say the background work, you mean the deliberation?
Yeah, like how we'd come up with what number of points for each
Mhm.
Okay,
rubric or whatever.
Our points would be done in the what Meg basically said, our points would be done in the executive session, but we would explain it when we when we go to the public.
got it.
So the executive section is the non-public
Correct.
session,
Right.
then we become the spokespeople for,
Exactly.
okay,
And then we
Correct.
present out to the public what we did, why we did, and it's transparent, and as Liz said, as transparent as possible.
Cool.
And at some point when we have the submissions,
Uh-huh.
will we publish them? Will they be on our site or the
Ooh,
town site? Just,
I don't know, that's a great question.
I mean, just even a rendering or,
that's a good question, I'll have to look.
yeah.
I'll have
Yeah,
to look
we
and
can
see.
ask, maybe that's a question when we talk to Miriam.
Yeah.
Bill, when you talk, or talk to Miriam, will you ask her how that works?
I mean, we don't usually post, like when we receive multiple bids, we don't usually post all of them. We can. Oh, yeah, I don't have to sign those. We don't typically post, non-winning packages, or incomplete packages, or, you know,
I think it would be, I mean, if it's, obviously, let's check in with the lawyers, but I just really think it's important, especially if by necessity, a lot of this needs to be done in an executive session, I
we
want,
can look, yeah.
yeah,
I'm
I
not
want
positive, so I can't give you a
Yeah,
solid answer on
yeah.
that.
I'll check with Miriam in terms of what the usual procedures are, but one of the things I suspect she's also going to come back, and I think Meg was on the right track with this. What does the town usually do? And so I think there's going to have to be sort of a balanced coordination there. So once I hear from her, Meg, I'll be back to you also.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
So. Oh, Meg, you're up next. I was gonna ask you for a pro-housing community update.
Yeah, there's been no change. We're waiting to hear from the state on how they handle Southampton, because they submitted a resolution,
Right.
which we were told we were not allowed to do. So before we go and modify a resolution, for the public to vote on it and do all that, we figured we'd wait and see if it's even worth doing. If they just get rejected, then we know it may not be worth trying.
We're in the pro-housing, just is that there's a New York, if you are a pro-housing community, it unlocks other funds, which of course would be great. So.
But the standardized resolution that went to pass has a lot of stuff in it that.
Yeah, the current board does
Takes a
not,
bit
yeah, it doesn't, they said they don't feel comfortable passing it. And so there's two paths, so you can either pass the resolution or you can kind of like basically prove by numbers that you are pro-housing by how much you built, but it won't surprise you that we don't meet that one either, so,
We're not too far off, but we're off enough that it just doesn't count.
yeah, so, yeah, it's just been, the funding for all of this is just a serious challenge, so it kind of sets us back from having access. All right, yeah. Choices, All right, so I think that that's it. Do we have any old business that we didn't get to? You guys want to talk about?
Nope.
Okay. Bill? Okay. Does anybody have any business wanna bring in?
That's my official apology for being late, but the LIE is a special kind of hell.
Glad you made it. All right, so let's just we'll just go through, so like our follow-ups from this is, I'll talk to Kim about the farmer's market. And I'll ask the fire commissioners about the date at the firehouse. And then Bill and Espen, and maybe the three of us can get on a call next week with Miriam when she's back from Passover and start talking about the contracts. Because I feel like that's gonna start coming down quickly. So I want to have our start feeling that. Oh my gosh, that was a
Actually, I
quick,
have one
Oh, yeah.
question.
great, no,
Old
I was
business.
like,
One thing, our zoning,
oh my gosh,
When
oh
is
my
that?
goodness, thank you so much. I didn't put it on the, so we did the ZBA hearing. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I was like, I knew that there was something I missed on the agenda. We had the ZBA hearing. It went well,
yes.
I thought, and the ZBAs, they have their session on it, their work session on it, I believe.
Is April 16th.
Yeah, and then they vote on it towards the end of the month, I believe.
The April 23rd is the next hearing when they would pass the resolutions.
So, yeah,
So it should be wrapped up by the 23rd.
yeah.
Okay. So,
And then just as like a reminder, so we'll like know where we're at there. And then, the next process that we'll go through is once we decide, once we make our selection, it'll be so basically the next thing we'll do is we'll be working on the selection.
Yep.
Right? And then after that, we'll be taking on the site plan review. So that'll be that next process that like we'll be involved in.
great.
Yeah. That was extremely short meeting. I feel like we would,
We have anybody, we don't even have anybody.
Yeah, we don't even have anybody.
Questions.
I don't know, I was like, we're like, we've got plenty, thanks so much.
Mark,
Yeah.
do you want to make a motion?
You wanna make a motion?
Nice soft introduction.
Yeah. Yeah, we do run a tight meeting around here.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second,
Hi.
all right. All in favor? Aye, thanks for the good times.
Excellent.
All right.